Good evening, everyone. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs, other senior government officials, members of the media, and the listening public. As at 5 p.m. yesterday, Dominica has been under tropical storm watch as Tropical Storm Tammy advances towards the Lesser Antilles. We'll first hear from the Honorable Prime Minister, who I'll now invite to address us.
Thank you, Daryl. Let me say good evening to all the listeners and viewers to this press briefing as we prepare for the approach of the tropical storm. Just to say to you that based on advice from the Met Office and the ODM, as of 5 p.m. today, a decision was taken to upgrade from a tropical storm watch to a tropical storm warning. So effective 5 p.m. today, we've upgraded to a tropical storm warning, and of course, the public servants will speak to some of the elements of this during the course of the press briefing. We've also taken a decision to have all shelters open from 7 p.m. today. So shelters across the country are open. All schools will be closed tomorrow. So all schools on the island will be closed tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a working day for both the private and public sector workers, which means every working person you have work tomorrow, including NEP. And so we will have work tomorrow. I just want to say to us that recent memory will remind us of the need for us not to take this approaching storm for granted. I know that the majority of us have access to various medium where we receive information on the weather and the approaching storm, and that is fine. But in terms of our national preparation, it's absolutely important that we take note of our local Met Office and the Office of Disaster Management, and in this case also the National Emergency Planning Organization for official information and some of the preparatory actions we undertake. As you know, I was in Canada attending the CARICOM Canada Summit, and I cut my stay short. I came in this afternoon, and I went straight from the airport into a National Emergency Planning Organization meeting, which started at 3:30 today, where I met with the chairpersons of the various committees within Nepo, all of whom gave a report and an update on the actions that they've taken at the various committee levels in an effort to prepare the country for any eventuality. We are not taking anything for granted. We are cross-checking every element of our preparation to ensure that no stones are left unturned in respect to our preparation and protecting the country from the ravages of the storm if it were to affect us. It's important that while we do these things at a national level, that we take cognizance of our own individual responsibility, our responsibility at family level and at the community level. And it's important that we look at our surroundings, our homes, and prepare ourselves for the storm. Please do not take it lightly. I am not taking it lightly. We all too familiar with the impacts of tropical storms on us. We saw what happened with Philip a couple of weeks ago with some showers. And of course, the Met Office will tell you how many inches of rain we expect to get from this storm. And so let us take precaution. Let us take the instructions and the advice from Nepo and from the ODM on some of the things that we need to do. For the shelters, we'll ensure that that the staff there to receive you and to look over you while you are a resident at the shelters during the storm. We're increasing the staff at the various national emergency shelters in Castle Bruce, in Jimmet, and LAYU, so we'll be increasing the staff complement there. We'll be deploying public officers in those localities to help with management and logistical issues, to ensure that those of us who will have to go to the shelters, we are prepared and we will be received nicely there. Again, let us use the time that we have before we start being impacted by the storm to do our cross-checking. Do not leave things for when the storm comes, or do not say that it's not going to come. We saw the destruction that Tropical Storm Erica did on our country. And we saw the destruction that Maria moved from a Category 2 to Category 5 in 36 minutes. 36 minutes, record. And so we're not taking it for granted. The reality is, my friends, the impact of climate change is real. And this is one of the major issues that we raise with the Prime Minister of Canada. And that's the main issue that we raise with all heads of state and heads of government. We meet and we engage as a Caribbean community, because this is the greatest threat to our existence in the Caribbean, the impacts of climate change. And so as we focus our attention on the approach of Tropical Storm Tammy, let us do our household preparation, our individual preparation. As I said, the government will do everything that we have to do. And I've given the go-ahead for us to take all of the necessary precautionary measures, and also ensure that if we have to respond, we have systems in place to respond. I can say to you, in receiving the reports from the Ministry of Health, the National Security, the fire and ambulance, the availability of food and water in Dominica, from also heard from Duasco and the preparation for the storm. We heard from the chairman of the shelters, and he will speak soon and to give you an update on where we are with the shelters. And of course, with the several homes that we've built, we're seeing less people wanting to go to the shelters, or for obvious reasons, and this is good. But let us focus our attention on this preparation. For me, as your Prime Minister, this is my major preoccupation. So we can do two things. We can only do two things: prepare and pray. We can only pray and not prepare, because we'll be a foolish virgin. And we have to prepare and pray. And in the process, take advice from Nepo, the Met Office, and from the ODM. And so, just to reiterate, as of 5 p.m. today, a decision was taken to upgrade our situation from a tropical storm watch to a tropical storm warning. Shelters are opened, have been opened from 7 p.m. today. All schools will be closed tomorrow. There'll be work for both the private and public sectors across the country. The airports and the ports will remain open until further advice is provided, but all airports, all ports are open in Dominica. We're open, yes, for business, but we have to prepare in the process. As we go along, as is customary, we'll provide you with regular updates. So we'll have an update for you tomorrow, and as we go along, we'll provide you with the information that we believe which will help you manage your anxieties, manage your fears, but also help you in being focused on what we need to do as individuals, as families, as communities, and as a nation. And so we continue to prepare and to cross-check for the situation. For many of us, this will be a sleepless night as we monitor the situation on an ongoing basis. So I want to again thank you for your cooperation and collaboration. The country can be as secure and prepared based on how we individually prepare ourselves. Okay? And if you know that, of course, I'll leave the details to the technical folks to speak about on the ODM on the issue of areas that are prone to flooding. If you're living next to a ravine or a river and you've had flooding in the past, you're going to have to be somebody who would have to relocate for this storm. And of course, I'll leave those details to my friends who will speak after me. But again, this is a major preoccupation. And so please, I beseech every one of us in this country to not take this lightly and to prepare, do our own preparations, and to look out for our neighbors, especially the senior citizens. We need to ensure that they are okay and they are safe at their homes. If they're not safe at their homes, then we would have to facilitate them to get to the shelters and so on. So I said we'll try to provide you with information on an ongoing basis. Whatever information we have, we pass on to you so that it can assist you in better managing your anxiety and also helping you in your preparation. Thank you.
Our thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister, and as you heard, we are now under tropical storm warning as at 5 p.m. this afternoon. We'll now invite Mr. Itoma James, the Acting Senior Met Officer, who will give us more details as to the current trajectory of Tropical Storm Tammy.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister for National Security, also the Cabinet Secretary and all the other PSs present. So firstly, let me start by saying that as of 5 p.m. today, Dominica was placed under a tropical storm warning. And a tropical storm warning means that we expect tropical storm conditions within the area within the next 36 to 24 hours. So this means that we expect the general public to, if you have not already activated your emergency plans, you should do so now and just be prepared for what is to come. At 5 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Tammy was located about 13.7 degrees north and longitude 56.6 degrees west. This places it about 336 miles east-southeast of Dominica. Tammy is now moving at about 13 miles per hour to the west-northwest. There are sustained wind speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, and the wind speeds extend outward up to about 125 miles from the center. On its current path, Tammy is expected to pass anywhere between 50 and 90 miles east of Dominica. With that in mind, we need to take into consideration that we can expect some tropical storm winds at some points during tomorrow. Additionally, we expect the tropical storm force winds to start or give us some impacts from anywhere from after 8 a.m. tomorrow, and this could continue into Saturday early morning. The rainfalls associated with tropical storm Tammy is expected to be up to 4 to 6 inches, and this could be greater in higher elevations. And like we know, Dominica is a very mountainous country, so we can expect some greater accumulations of rainfall. For the fisher folks, we expect sea conditions to start deteriorating before the onset of tropical storm, and we can see some deterioration in sea conditions from late tonight, and sea swells going up to about 3 meters, and we expect the wave heights to peak anywhere for about 4 meters from tomorrow, up until Friday night. So just to reiterate, we are under a tropical storm warning, and that means that tropical storm conditions are possible or are expected within the area, and we expect Dominicans, the general public, to prepare and have your hurricane plans activated and ready for whatever comes our way. I just want to say thank you for your time, and the Met Office will continue keeping you updated. You can visit our website at weather.gov.dm for any further updates.
Thank you, Mr. James. Mr. Fitzroy Pascal is the National Disaster Preparedness Coordinator, and I'll now invite him to address us.
Good evening to the listening and viewing public. At 5 p.m. this evening, Dominica was placed under tropical storm warning as tropical storm Tammy approaches the Lesser Antilles, including Dominica. A tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions, are expected somewhere within the warning area within 36 hours. Note well that information regarding the progressive development of Tammy has been in circulation by the National Disaster Management System for several days. This means that by now, all preparedness actions by the public, including the business community, should have been completed and plans ready for activation. By now, emergency kits should have been already packed with the necessary supplies. The National Emergency Operations Center, or the NEOC, has been activated as of 5 p.m. this evening. The emergency services and first responders are activated. As is customary, heavy equipment will be pre-positioned to ensure limited downtime, continued access, and ease of mobility. During the passage of Tammy, the public should be on alert as the usual hazards of heavy rains, gusty winds up to tropical storm strength, flash flooding, landslides, and rough seas are expected. People living near rivers, ravines, and other waterways are reminded to be on alert during heavy rains and be ready to move to safety as required. All should take the time to ensure that waterways are cleared to reduce flood impact. Importantly, the ODM strongly discourages walking, swimming, or driving through flood waters. Additionally, mariners and fisher folks by now should have secured fishing vessels and other equipment until further guidance is provided. People who live along coastlines should be on alert for rough seas and storm surge that may threaten and be ready to move to a safe area. Shelter activation will be addressed by the local government commissioner. While the ODM and the broader Nepo, the National Emergency Planning Organization, are in a state of readiness, we continue to implore that the public should also do their part to reduce impacts on their lives and livelihood. Again, please listen to official sources for update and further guidance during the next 48 hours. Information is available on both websites of the ODM and the Dominica Meteorological Service to learn more about storm impacts and what actions to take during floods and landslides. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzroy Pascal. Again, we are under tropical storm warning as at 5 p.m. this afternoon, and all shelters are open. Once there is talk of any pending weather conditions, people are concerned about shelters, and I'll now invite the chairman of the Shelters Committee, the Local Government Commissioner, Mr. Glenroy Tousse, to address us.
Let me say a very pleasant good evening to the listening and viewing public. As has been indicated, shelters were opened or activated as of 7 p.m. this evening. We have made available 101 emergency shelters for the general public. However, we've made some arrangements, and I want to outline those arrangements we've made for particular communities in Dominica. So at the regional shelter in Cassibrus, this shelter will serve the communities of Good Hope, Petit Soufriere, San Sauvé, including Cassibrus. At the regional shelter in Jimmet, the communities will be to be accommodated: Maho, Jimmet, Massac, Canefield, Taru, Layupak, Sultan, and Campbell Desport. The Layu Regional Shelter will accommodate persons from the community of Coliho. And I just want to add additionally that residents of Coolibistry will be accommodated at the Monrachet Resource Center, the residents of Miro at the John Caleb Laurent Primary School in St. Joseph, and of course we have the residents from Bourne who will be accommodated at both the Portsmouth Secondary School and the Dodan Primary School. I just want to encourage everyone to be mindful of their responsibilities as have been indicated, and we're encouraging those of you who should have been at the shelter already or were planning to be at the shelter, please, we're encouraging you to come with some of your supplies. And the basic supplies, referring to some water to last at least 36 to 48 hours. Some dry foods, we're talking about biscuits and canned foods. Very importantly, your medication. We know there are people who want prescription medication, and we're encouraging people to work with that medication. Of course, very importantly, people consider their belongings and the documents. You put that in a safe plastic bag and you take it to the shelter. We will, as a customary, we will enforce our shelter rules. There are shelter rules and regulation, and so we're talking of no weapons, knife, cutlasses, guns, or anything of that nature. We expect, as the Prime Minister indicating, that people should be praying, so we're asking and encouraging each other to be each other's brother, each other's keeper. We know we have some senior citizens who are not so in tune with the noise, so we're asking people to lower the level of noise, and just importantly, be each other's brother, each other's keeper. That is significant. And so we want to encourage people to go to the shelters. Should have been there, but do that as soon as possible. Do not wait until the rain bans and the stormy weather and the winds to begin to approach the shelters and create that sort of chaotic condition. We are not calling for that. We are calling for tranquility. We're calling for togetherness. We're calling for unity. We're all in this thing together. It's our responsibility to ensure that each other is safe, in a safe environment. And so we are just encouraging and asking everyone, once you're in the shelter, please adhere to the rules, the shelter rules and regulations, and let's all ride the storm comfortably, and let's all be safe in a safe environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Glenroy Tousse. Honorable Rayburn Blackmore is the Minister of National Security. He's also here with us, but we'll now invite questions from the media, starting, of course, with Curtis Matthew.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darrell Teed. I noticed that employees have been asked to work tomorrow. Yes, employees have been asked to work tomorrow. I also heard the weather forecaster indicated that activity from the storm should begin by tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. I just wanted an explanation on what basis do we now ask employees to be on the job for the entire day tomorrow. Thank you very much, Mr. T. If I have the opportunity, I'll come back again.
Prime Minister.
Well, as we say, we keep monitoring the situation. We take decisions based on advice and what we expect at any particular period of time in respect to when the storm will start affecting us in any significant way. We will keep on monitoring tonight. If there is a view that we should call off work tomorrow, then we will make that decision. But as of now, we're not in a position to say, well, there's no work tomorrow. The other thing too is that we have to also be practical in this, that there are businesses, even including the public service, who will require staff to come in to also organize and to help with the preparation of those businesses for the storm. But if the situation warrants us to call off work tomorrow, then we shall do so. So we're not in any deliberate way saying to come to work just to come to work. We will keep monitoring, and of course, based on the advice, and I will take the appropriate action. But in order to minimize the number of people who will be traversing across the country, figures, let us keep the most vulnerable home, children. So this is why we always take a decision to keep children home, so that we do not have the situation of the vulnerable kids, children are out, and so forth. So, and of course, we're informing them early enough so that their parents can make the necessary arrangements for them. But rest assured, we're not taking a decision just to say you must come to work. No, we'll keep monitoring. This was as of 5 p.m. Today. Obviously, the Met Office and the ODM and others will keep monitoring and provide advice almost every 2 hours, or every hour. So we've been in regular contact and so on. Sure. Our hope is that the tropical storm will move further away from Dominica. That's our hope. That's our prayer. That's it. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're praying for. But we're also preparing in the event that it will to affect us, as we currently anticipate it will. So we keep hoping that it can move away from us, but we prepare nonetheless. But certainly we will keep monitoring on a regular basis, as we've done in the past. And if there's need for us to say everybody should stay home tomorrow, then we shall take a decision. Our preoccupation in all of this always is to protect lives first, livelihoods and property second. But first and foremost is to protect lives and ensure that everybody's alive and after the storm. Okay.
Thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister and other presenters this evening. We encourage everyone to stay tuned for updated information as it becomes available. Do have a good evening and stay safe. But before we wrap up completely, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore will give a few remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me recognize in our presence the Honorable Prime Minister, and the fact that the Prime Minister was scheduled to return home on Saturday, came back today in light of the storm that is threatening us, speaks volumes to his leadership and commitment to serving the people of Dominica. I think the Prime Minister has actually crystallized everything nicely, but I just want to say further that over the years, we have done a lot to improve our infrastructure insofar as disaster mitigation and preparedness and response are concerned. And throughout the year, we have been planning training programs for the communities through the instrumentality of ODM and, of course, the Met Office, working in concert with the local government department. Of course, you heard just now from the chairman of the Shelters Committee. When you have a potential disaster situation on the horizon, the most you can do is to prepare for the worst-case scenario and to hope for the best, as you heard from the Prime Minister. And that we are doing. I feel comforted this year that we have seen an improvement in the reporting system, and our readiness is much improved to what previously obtained. And I think what is left to be seen, if the response becomes a necessity, is to see how quickly we can put into effect what we have been doing over the years, and I'm confident that will happen. I just want to say further that the police has ensured that all officers have been recalled from rest days and to ensure that they can respond appropriately. Likewise, the fire department. So all the agencies within the response mechanism are actually fully motivated, fully ready. And of course, as you heard from the Prime Minister, the most we can do is to provide the infrastructure, to provide the personnel, and to provide the other enabling infrastructure but the rest reside within us as individuals to respond and to respond appropriately. But fundamentally, one thing that we experienced the last time when the shelters were open, that people were kind of reluctant to go to the respective shelters. I think, especially people who live in vulnerable areas, it's important that you move to the shelters as early as possible to avert the potential of any disaster, of injury to yourself. As you heard from the Prime Minister, fundamentally, our preoccupation is to protect lives. And then you, as an individual, has a responsibility to your own safety and security. So the shelters are open, they're well equipped, and what is left to be done is for you to ensure that you respond early enough. One of the things that we are doing this year is to augment our staff complement, especially within the fire department, in areas like Cassie Bruce and in the La Plaine and in Granby, and to help with any potential rescue that has to be done. And I think ensuring that we have the assets ideally located in areas that are vulnerable is also key to our success in responding to any eventual or possible eventuality as a result of the impact of the storm. So let us continue to work hard. You can pray, but you must work towards achieving that prayer. And I don't think it makes sense if you know you live in a vulnerable area next to a river that has shown over the past years and weeks, as we experienced a couple weeks ago, to overflowing in banks, for you to stay there and to pray to God for nothing to happen to you. I believe God loves people who love themselves also, and to act appropriately. So let us pray for the best, and let us continue to do what we have to do from the home setting, firstly, the community, and from a national standpoint. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore. Again, thanks to Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt and the other presenters this evening. Our fisher folk, you still have time to take in your boats. Farmers, to ensure your livestock is moved to higher ground. Ensure all your documents are properly secured. Your family is safe. You still have time to do so. As you heard, as at 5 p.m. this afternoon, we are now under tropical storm warning. Schools will be closed tomorrow, and any further updates as to any other decision taken by government will be relayed to you. The state is in its own preparedness. It's up to you for your personal preparedness as we move forward. Do have a good evening, everyone, and stay safe.
Sorry.
Yes, yes, Curtis, before, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, has any decision been taken activities for independence, Heritage Day, and all these cultural activities? Today, Thursday, can you give us a sort of hint as to whether you're planning to at least not have these activities, or these activities are going ahead?
Yeah, well, good question. That was also discussed it was raised rather at the National Emergency Planning Organization meeting this afternoon. Our position is that we will take things in strides, and we will make a determination as time goes by on some of the weekend activities. But certainly for tomorrow, we would have called off all national activities. There was supposed to be the National Awards for Agriculture, and this was called off, and the other activities from the national government standpoint. But in terms of Saturday, we've marked a difference. We will make a determination by tomorrow on this. And of course, we have Heritage Day in Woodfordale on Sunday. So we will see how it goes, and then on advice, the appropriate actions will be taken. But rest assured, as always, we always put people first and people's safety first in this matter. So whatever actions we have to take at the appropriate time, we will not hesitate to take those actions and so on. But we have to take it in strides, in steps, and based on the advice coming from the Met Office and from the ODM, we would make some determinations on this. But just to reiterate, as everyone has done, we cannot keep saying enough that we have to prepare ourselves, and at the family level, at the community level. Okay, we're here to provide guidance, we're here to provide support, we're here to provide advice, we're here to provide encouragement, and we're here to help every one of us manage our anxiety manage our affair, manage our concerns. But at the national level, we're doing everything possible, and to ensure that the state is in a position of preparedness, and equally important is that we are in a position to respond in the event that we were to be affected, God forbid. Thank you, and good night, everybody.